Yesterday I received Antony's new book, True Path of the Ninja, which is a translation of the Shoninki. For those of you who don't know, the Shoninki is basically a historical ninja manual for the Kishiryu of ninjutsu, written by Fujibayashi Masatake, who I use that name because I'm used to that translation or that naming structure, because if you look at the Bansen Shukai, that's written by someone named Fujibayashi Yasutake. So you have Fujibayashi in both ones, the same kanji, and then you have Take, which is the kanji for Bu, on both names. So it's a very similar naming structure. The only difference is Yasu is one and Masa is the other. But in this book, Antony refers to him as Natori Masatake. So basically, if you want to get into it like that, he was a samurai, of course. Most ninja were samurai. And he wrote this book as a sort of a secret teaching, or more like a letter between people within his school, so that they could pass down the essence of what's being taught. And this translation, it's pretty good compared to what's out there so far. I have the modern Japanese version, so it's really hard to do a translation because the original is written in Kanbun, of course, and then you're switching between that to modern Japanese, and then from modern Japanese to English. So there are a few mistakes in here, but nothing big. Some things, I don't know if you would even classify them as mistakes. It's just due to what certain people know. You could translate them on many different levels. That's the same thing with a book by Soke Hatsumi. You'll be able to read it all different ways depending on who you are. So basically, it's really interesting discussing history, things like that. The Gokhan system, of course, which is the Chinese method. It's covered in The Art of War, of using 5 different varieties of spies for all different types of things. And it's similar, like all of this stuff you can find it on Roy Ron's translation. He started off doing this, so the readings are slightly different variations on the kanji, but they all do have the exact same meaning. And then it goes into things like how to change your appearance, which isn't actually like thinking about disguise and things like that. It's more of a mental attitude. Even though you do talk about disguise, you talk about things like that. You talk about the 7 different personas to adapt, which it's hard to think about ninjutsu like that, because in the modern time you're not going out dressed as the monkey trainer. You're not dressing as the kamuso with the kamuso gasa, big basket on your head. Even in modern times, it'll take a lot of effort to be dressed as a priest one day and then be dressed as a rabbi the next day, and an imam the next day. It's the amount of knowledge that it would take to pull something like that off really doesn't seem to exist in the modern world. And that's probably why people like Fujita wanted ninjutsu to just die out, because it really doesn't translate well. So when you think about something like that, the best way to look at this is more of a psychology book, to understand the nature of the self and understand the nature of other people, which he actually does go into in here. Sometimes it's a little crazy when he talks about physiognomy, when he's talking about, some of it might be true though. I think when he talks about people who have long, slender fingers are very intelligent, seems right to me. Or, people who have a mole on the bottom of their foot are meant to be kings. So, I guess that's pretty much right and dead on, I guess. So, yeah, pretty good information on all sorts of things. He goes on to discuss the difference between, thieves and ninja, even though technically they do use the same art. He talks about something that's similar to the precepts of ninjutsu by Momochi Sandayu. And he talks about basically Kyojutsu, which is in here, which, we all know about Kyojutsu, Tenkan-ho, if you're in the Bujinkan, Genbukan, Jininkan, if you know all that kind of stuff, you understand how to apply that. So, let's see, what else is there? The part that most people, I think, would really want to look at would be this section right here. Shinobu Idetachi no Narai, which is the equipment and outfits for shinobi activities. So that's what people who are looking into historical ninjutsu want to learn about. Amigasa, which is a hat for the rain, a straw hat. There's a few varieties. Basically, you have the Ronin Gasa like I have. Right here. This, I don't know if you would technically consider it an amigasa. From what I've seen labeled as amigasa now, it's more like kind of shaped like a triangular with like a, it's hard to explain, like a crescent moon kind of shape. But that's usually worn by women, so you have that, you have the Komuso Gasa, you have Sando Gasa, you have all these different varieties. Hats are extremely important in Japan because they associate with class and with occupation, so that's, you need to know what hat you're wearing if you're a ninja trying to infiltrate something. What else? A grappling hook, known as Kaginawa. Of course, we all know Kaginawa, we don't need to go into that. Sekihitsu, which is a stone pencil. I think, I don't know if it would be a better translation, but I would say more like chalk, kind of, but not really. Field medicine, kusuri. That, you could just go on and on about that. Sanjaku tenugui, which is the cloth for wiping your hands. Te nugui, to wipe. 3 feet long, 3 shaku, about 3 feet long, a little longer. And a fire starting implement called uchidake. Well, he has uchitake, but I would say uchidake, or skeidake. So yeah, he explains the basic usage for these, and then the Shichi Hode, which are 7 disguises. They're slightly different from the 7 disguises that we have in Togakure-ryu ninjutsu, but very similar. This one doesn't have Ronin in it. It has Komuso, Shike. Komuso, as I was saying before, the monks who cover their heads and they play the shakuhachi. Shike is just a regular monk, Sandogasa. Yamabushi are mountain aesthetics. The priests who walk around in mountains with the, I forget what it's called. It's like a little pillbox kind of shaped hat. I can't believe I can't remember the name for that. They carry axes, they carry swords, they're not too friendly. Merchant, of course. Hokashi, that's like juggler or acrobat or whatever, musician, some kind of street performer. And then Sarugaku, as I said, this is like a monkey trainer. This is a form of, he writes form of theater, but from what I know, it's monkey trainer. And then it says Tune, but this is something that occurs in the book a lot. Whenever there's TU or TI, it should be TSU or CHI, but it says, I don't know if, when you're dealing with someone who's writing in Japanese, sometimes they'll write it that way. The romaji will be slightly different, but, you can understand that it's supposed to be Sune no Katachi, which is just like regular street clothes or whatever, the clothes of the locals. So this is always stuff that you need to know. And then, there's just the things that people like, which is obvious, arts and beautiful people, luxury, scenery, music, dance, that kind of stuff. Court music, I think, is the proper translation there. Then 10 ancient ways of the shinobi. Onseinin, which is changing your, the way that you talk. It's a dialect. It's, I think the proper, it's sealing someone's mouth, I think, is the way that I was taught about it. Junin, which is getting information by, being kind of like subservient to people. Musohonin, which is causing a ruckus. Jogenin, illusion techniques, not actually what you think. Joeinin, which is getting close to people by hiding, like eavesdropping, basically. I don't know how long this video is going on. Joannin, which is it's weird. It's he says getting into people's minds when they let their guard down, which is, it doesn't translate well to what the actual kanji means, but I guess that's close. Jomunin, which is getting into people's dreams. So and that's also not what you think. Jokyonin, which is using local spies, basically. Jogenin is disguise, deceiving people, all that kind of stuff, and Jokunin is deceiving people without them knowing that you're deceiving them, which should be all of them. They should all be that type. So, so yeah, that's the kind of stuff that people really want to know about. And then it goes on to just things that, they might not apply today, but they're always good to know, like how to get walking along an unfamiliar path. You should know this. You should be able. This is what talks about looking for cast-off waraji or umagutsu, bagutsu, whatever you want to say, which are horse sandals, because they didn't have horseshoes until the late Edo period in Japan. So they would make straw sandals for horses to protect the feet. Tasting the ground for salt, because more people walking, their sweat would get into it. So if the ground was salty, that would be the one that's used most often. And then making, how to mark a path yourself. So this is always good. The construction of warming devices is always, this is all interesting stuff that you should learn. And then then it goes on to how to travel, which are the different footsteps, kutsukai, which means it means changing your shoes, but it's obviously not changing your shoes, but it can be, because there were things that you put on your feet so that you would have different type of footprints. But this talks to the 10 different styles of walking using various steps, shinobi aruki. I think in Togakure we actually have 36. Then infiltrating a mansion. This is always interesting stuff. It's how to disguise yourself, like learning, pretending you're a merchant, who to talk to, who not to talk to, how to get in. It's really it's just really interesting, but how much of it actually applies, you don't really know. Then let's see, yeah, this learning from wolves and foxes, just another same thing about the dako, because wolves and foxes are known for being able to change their shape, kitsune. Then learning from cows and horses, which is just learning to follow people, learning to do their work so that you get in that way as opposed to just outright tricking them. And then gathering information at shrines. This is something that really doesn't apply today, but it did when you had a whole section of religious people who would always gather at one spot, all that kind of stuff. Then changing your appearance. This is the usual stuff, but it's how to wear certain clothes. This could apply today, couldn't apply today. It depends on how you take it, because the makeup nowadays is so far advanced. You could just pull this off. The costuming nowadays, this is this is a great way of looking at it historically, but we're so far beyond that we don't even need to look at it that way. And then hints for infiltrating a fortress, when to go in, all that kind of stuff. Great information. Let's see. Yeah, this is all, how to climb, use a kogai to climb up a the side of a castle, because of the way that the castles were constructed, there would be stone walls with gaps between them. Normally you would use a kunai, or there's another called rokusen, which is 6 pins, and you hammer those into the wall. When to sneak in, tells you the hours. When not to sneak in too, always good. How to deal with animals, always awesome. How to work in teams, always good stuff. How to get over high places, more use of Kaginawa. How to get down. This is something that Soke Natsume has talked about too, and I don't know if I should discuss it. This is similar. how he gets down is similar to the way that you should get up. I'll just say that. And of course, you know, the tools, how to saw through stuff with these shikoro. Great information. It's all good information. I don't know how long this video is, so I don't know if I'm running out of time. And then, you know, just going into Kujiho, Jujiho, all that kind of stuff. Magical spells. We all know these. These were in a few different books. And ways to protect yourself from getting cut. I talked about that before. Where to take shelter, camouflage. You know, this part, the reading people's faces, reading people's personalities, I think this is basically useless because I already discussed that, but it's palmistry, all that kind of stuff that doesn't apply anymore. But, you know, when you get into the Gokui Hiden, all this kind of stuff, this is more of a just basically philosophical ideology of, I would say self-improvement, or, you know, maybe even self-hypnosis, if you're considering how to get someone to throw themselves completely into it, you know, forgetting about life and death, all that kind of stuff, just completely immersing yourself in your work. So this is all great information. And I like this one part, how to avoid defeating other people. That's always, like, that's something that's not really even thought about. It's great that, you know, he tells you that don't defeat someone so completely that you can't use them again. That's a really important point. It's like like leaving your weapons in your dead enemies. So then he also has this part where he talks to Otake Sensei about Tenshin Shoden Kotori Shintoryu, and a lot of this stuff actually is from the Shoninki. I don't know if Otake Sensei thinks that it's different, or if he thinks that that's part of his tradition, or if they all just ran together, because lots of Togakuryu stuff is from the Shoninkis. It's all the same, and lots of Otake Sensei stuff is the same from the Shoninki. So he says a true samurai wouldn't do ninjutsu. Of course, I don't think that's true. The people who we have who wrote these books are samurai. Talks about taming dogs. We all know this. Let's see. He talks about the way tatami mats are laid out. I don't know if this is 100% true, but no one actually does know the reason. Yeah, talking about not to chase shinobi barefoot because they scatter caltrops, but makibishi will go through zori easily, so it's not too much. Interesting part when he talks about how shinobi climb trees. One would be the Kaginawa, Sanjaku Tenugui, we use that. And then he talks about another method, using the hands. Now, I've never discussed this publicly, I don't think I have actually, but this is the Togakuryu way of climbing a tree, which is very interesting. Let's see. Oh yeah, shinobi are good at hiding between trees and can move around from tree top to tree top as quickly as squirrels. That's a good quote. Let's see. The image of a ninja hiding in the water with a reed is from manga and is a modern invention. Yep, that's totally true. Even we have the device in Togakuryu, the suinodake, the bamboo breathing tube, and the way to use it is not to sit in one spot. It's different. So this is all matching up with stuff that I've been taught, which is great. One thing that two things actually. Otake Sensei says that ninja would use a leather tsuba on their sword so that it wouldn't rattle, because metal tsubas rattle. But that's not the case. You know, I can shake this as hard as I want and it won't rattle. What actually causes a rattle in the saya is the bottom of the blade itself. So I don't think that's accurate. And then another thing that Otake Sensei says is, don't believe what you hear about ninja throwing shuriken. It's, I can't hit a target accurately from across the room. So I just want to say, you know, youtube.com/user/Hozan-Suzuki. That's all I have to say about that. I don't know how long this video has been, but I definitely recommend this book. You can apply it to modern life if you look at it the right way, if you know what to take out and what to leave. Oh, one thing I wanted to say, he talked about Tobitori no what it was, no Kurai, and he says that's the dignity of flying birds. Now, if you're a Bunyankan person, Kurai, you could take that differently. And when you're reading Tobu Dori, which is jumping, flying bird, you know that the other reading is Hicho. So if you're looking at Hicho and Hicho no Kurai, that's something completely different. So do some research into Japanese and figure out what exactly that means. So that's always interesting. There's lots of code in this book. That's all I have to say. You need to know, you need to have this, and you need to have the original Japanese, and you'll be able to work it out. So as always, learn Japanese. Buy the book and study as much as you can.